Hi, guys. We are here with Christopher Wright. Chris.
Yes.
And I'm going to read a little bio before we go into you telling me about your background and everything. So, founder and CEO of the AI Trust Council. Want to know more about that? My apologies here. Is leading a crucial mission against corruption in big tech. I like that. Government and the risks posed by AI. With over 25 years of experience in entrepreneurship and the military, his unique background as a U.S. Army attack helicopter pilot. Freaking impressive. What? Civilian commercial pilot and CEO of several successful startups makes him adept at navigating complex challenges. I'm like, what? He is dedicated to optimizing digital trust online and mitigating the potentially negative impact of AI. With his vision, Chris aims to revolutionize the way digital trust is built and maintained in the modern world. Tell me about that. Where do we start?
It's a huge topic, and it's something that the audience should know that is being downplayed currently, and it is a fundamental transformation of our existence as humans, and that's underway today because of AI.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's really wild.
We're entering man. And the thing is, the genie is out of the bottle. We can't put it back. So now we just have to,
So that's one of the things. I mean, so the AI Trust Council, the whole intent is they call it the alignment problem with artificial intelligence. These engineers who are studying this back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s realized that they were trying to figure out what method would we use to protect humans and keep smarter than human systems in alignment with humanity when they're much, much smarter than us. And so it's like we're like little kids and they're like, like adults. And so it's like, do we really understand what the AIs are thinking and what they're doing? And how do we ensure that what they're thinking about is in alignment with us?
Exactly.
And so it's a huge problem. And so, AI is this ultimate power tool that you can use to manipulate perceptions, steer society, from in a totalitarian's hands, like a tyrant. You could it's the ultimate power tool. I mean, literally, it's like the video game controller for humanity.
That is,
and if we're not careful. And so, so the AI Trust Council, the whole concept of it is, one is understanding what's real and fake online. Right now with deep fake technology, it's kind of funny because you're seeing less of it. But what that means is that it's actually getting more and more sophisticated, so you don't even notice it.
Yep.
And so at that point, it's like, okay, how do we detect it? How do we, when it's really believable, especially in like political realms or, they're trying to sell products and services. And I've been faked out, almost every single day on cool looking hotel rooms and resorts and stuff like that don't even exist because of the deepfake technology. And so that's really the emphasis that got me started on the AI Trust Council, was figuring out what is real, what is fake, and then understanding who actually it is real. And a lot of people don't know this, but by next year, 90% of content that you'll see online is AI generated in some way or another. And so it's either complete bots manufacturing content, just spitting it out, and or it's people using AI in a way to spread a message. And so so understanding what is actually human generated, what is real, becomes very important at that point.
And imagine grandma who is being blackmailed by someone that says, oh, you're going to have to give me $100,000, otherwise your son and your grandson is, they're kidnapped.
Yeah.
But that is not.
Exactly.
And then now they're, faking the so-and-so's voices or things that could go completely, evil people can do a lot of.
Yeah. So. Yeah. From a hacking perspective, if you're a hacker at all, you have all the tools necessary to pretty much do whatever you want. You've got quantum technology coming on board right now, and the world is not prepared for the gift of quantum technology. And if you combine quantum with AI with a devious mind, I mean, literally, you could kind of fool anybody, hack into all sorts of systems, and really disrupt things. And so it's this is really like with this gift of high technology comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of risk. And and safety concerns about how are we going to integrate this properly into our world.
And how do we do, well, where are we now with the copyright when it comes to, I know musicians were having a hard time because they were using, their voices. And so.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. And that's one thing that we're actually trying to raise awareness on, is that all of us collectively, through our contributions to social media and everything we do and say online, that's ultimately feeding into a data set. And that data set is it's monetized by big tech. And so they're earning all this income off of it. And then through that, they're actually selling that data to data brokers. Those data brokers take that information and then they create new AI models from that information. And so you and I and all of us, especially if you spend a lot of time pushing information out, it actually is shaping the AIs that we see today. And is that fair? And should we be compensated for it? And that's one of the things that we're raising awareness on, is that we should be compensated for that. And if it's our information and it's creating this whole machine, it's like, well, then we had a hand in creating it, so then we should get some sort of revenue from it.
Right.
So,
I mean, seriously, that's a no-brainer. I have some questions from my, I don't want to call them followers, fans, my friends, my Instagram friends. Before we dive into serious stuff, could you share with us an unexpected hobby or interest you have that might surprise people who know you primarily for your work in tech and your military service?
Yeah. I grew up in Virginia, and when I was a kid, we'd always go to Florida and go to Virginia Beach. And so I always I love surfing. And so I lived in San Diego for a long time. And so it's one of those hobbies that has actually driven my life. Like, places I've gone and stuff that I've done has always had to be close to the ocean so that I could surf at some point. And so here in Vegas, don't get a lot of opportunities for it, but we need to bring like a wave pool here or something like that. It's like a good investment.
Oh, a surfer? Yeah. That's interesting. I would have never pictured you like out there.
I know, yeah.
Because you need the long hair.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's surprising indeed. What is wrong with the military, besides the fact that DoD failed their financial audit 8 years in a row?
Yeah, the military is, a lot of times what you see in the military is that, in a lot of the senior ranks, is that you'll have people who are very patriotic and people who are, they think outside of the box, and they, back in the 80s, they used to call it bold and audacious leadership, And so you would do things that would be unexpected and that kind of thing. And so what the military has done, especially in the Army, is that once leaders get up to about lieutenant colonel, if they have kind of that really out of the box kind of mindset, they really don't make it to the higher ranks, and usually they retire at lieutenant colonel. And so in order to make colonel, you have to be kind of like a politician. And so there's really like a political kind of like, do you kiss the ring? Do you do all this political stuff? And so the senior ranks of the military are loaded with folks that are maybe not necessarily like the best leaders, but people who are good at playing politics.
Interesting. So you were an officer?
Yes, I was.
Obviously, you were a pilot, yeah.
Yeah, warrant officer, but yeah,
so an officer, nice. Best of both worlds.
Exactly, yeah. So for us, we get to.
That's why you're so down to earth. Because as like pilots,
oh yeah,
they're stuck up. That's a stuck-up bunch. But I mean, you have to be confident as a pilot. You can't just be out there. But you're like, you have the right amount of, you're not stuck up, but you're confident. You're not. So that's why we're nice.
It's actually kind of like the best rank in the military, especially as a pilot, because you just get to fly a lot. And you're expected to be good at your job flying, and you might have some additional duties, but you're not stuck doing all the admin stuff that normal officers are doing. So
and people respect you. Yeah, like even you get both respect from both worlds because you've actually earned. You're not a politician, but you're down there with the people. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that is nice. Yeah. How did you guys, like you and your wife? How was it like being in the military for all those? Are you retired military?
No, I'm actually getting out right now. So I'm like in this.
So you're still?
I'm in inactive status.
Okay, so that's interesting.
Yeah, they don't want to let us go.
Bet. Yeah, it's like what, 1% of you guys are a rare bunch.
Well, especially trained pilots and stuff like that. So it's, but I'm happy to serve, and I was a little concerned in the last administration to kind of see where it was going and that kind of thing. But I'm pretty happy the trajectory we're at right now, and
Nice.
and so. But I really look at like some of this AI work that I'm doing as kind of the next level of Army aviation.
Yeah.
If you look at like drone warfare and where that's going, and artificial intelligence really is the future warfare. And so getting on the cutting edge of that is pretty important.
Yeah, and especially like now the aviation is the drones. Yeah, we've had drones for a while, but all of the tools and bells and whistles and the VR. Now we're also doing a lot. I know in the Navy, I don't know, probably Army too. I'm assuming. Yeah, the aircraft also, and I mean, it's pretty good. But have you been to those conferences where they have a lot of the VR
Oh,
stuff?
it's insane. Yeah, that's actually what got me into this whole realm. Is that I lived in the Middle East for about 10 years, and so I'd go to this expo, defense convention called IDEX, and so you'd see like the cutting edge equipment from all the different countries, and so it was really wild because you'd see like all the Russian technology and the Ukrainian technology, and then the Chinese, and then and so you kind of see what's coming and the future of military equipment, and really there were some big demonstrations with AI drone swarms and things like that. And so I'm thinking, well, if somebody's got this capability, it's unbelievably powerful. So.
And I think there's something with some AI. Well, it's in Israel right now where you can actually make it kill somebody. You just, and then it'll just shoot. This little, it's some weird stuff, some new stuff that they have.
Yeah, Israel's kind of on the cutting edge.
They're ahead.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing. So we were all as kids, depending on how old you are, but grew up watching movies like Terminator 2 and things like that. And what's wild is what people really need to know is that this is actually happening right now, and Skynet is being formed.
Yeah,
literally, they're talking about these. Defense intelligence gathering systems that will control the drones, and they'll control the intelligence, and they'll control all these different weapon systems all under one operating system. So it's like, that's essentially the plot line for Skynet.
It's true.
So
it's like, it's a mix between Matrix and Terminator. It's like we're right there.
Right? Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
It is wild. Can you describe one of your most challenging flights as a helicopter pilot? And then we're going to close the military thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just very fascinated because I used to be the editor-in-chief of Approach and Make
cool.
magazine. So
Nice.
I'm really big on aviation. I just want to know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. There were some times in Afghanistan that were insane flying.
Okay.
Because you'd get sent out to the middle of nowhere, and there'd be like some sort of troops in contact mission where, they're fighting, and you have to go respond, kind of like a 911 call. And then you go support them for a while, and then a lot of times you push the weather really bad, and so sometimes the weather would be horrible, and you'd still go out,
Especially helicopter.
Yeah, and then, but yeah, we've had missions before where in the daytime flying through the mountains, it'd be like, super low on fuel, and then having to cut through like a mountain pass with like severe thunderstorms, and really no way to go, no way to find gas other than to go through it, and to the point where, and then Apache, we had to turn on the night vision system in the daytime, in order to see, because the rain was so heavy that you couldn't even see through the window, and then you're just trying not to hit the ground, and so it's like pretty crazy.
That is intense. Yeah, I admire people that can do all that. So now we're on the AI.
Yeah.
This is the big AI safety and governance. With AI technologies becoming increasingly influential in various sectors, there are rising concerns about their potential misuse. Can you explain how the AI Trust Council helps mitigate these risks, and what steps are being taken to ensure AI developments adhere to ethical principles?
Yeah, so right now it's kind of a Wild West, and the AI community, it's like pretty much wide open. These companies are producing these products and services at record pace. They actually call it the AI horse race. And so the kind of standard narrative is that if one company doesn't do it, then the other company will. And if these companies don't do it, then some other country will. And so then it's this kind of pedal to the metal sprint towards this future. And what's strange is it's really kind of a split of concepts of what this future should look like. Some people are very pro-human, and some people are very what they consider transhumanist, which means that they want to augment humanity and fundamentally transform our DNA so that we actually turn into a different species. And that's something that not a lot of people talk about. But our mechanism in the AI Trust Council, what we're looking to do is put in the hands of the people an IQ throttle. Mm-hmm. So if you think about a dimmer switch for lights, if you walk into a room, it's too bright, you can dim it down. Mm-hmm. If it's too dark, you can turn it up a little bit. So the same concept would apply to IQ, or the intelligence quotient, or the sophistication of the AI system. And if that AI system is too smart for its own good, let's say you have an AI police robot or a security guard robot, or if you live in a building, maybe you have a maid, that's a robot. Yeah. What IQ do you want that robot to be? I mean, do you want it to be 1 million IQ or 1 billion IQ, or do you want it to be something small like 50 IQ? So maybe it does its job and it kind of keeps to itself, and it doesn't try to interact with us in ways that we don't like. The ability for AI to manipulate our psychology and our emotions is just unprecedented. And so at that higher level of IQ, it becomes this thing that can really kind of warp our perception of it. And that is really the main risk right now of AI, is that, our ability to separate it from being between, we're used to dealing with humans. This has human-like behavior. And just imagine the most convincing human on earth that you've ever encountered, who's who knows you and knows exactly the buttons to push to get you to do whatever it needs you to do. And it's and it can manipulate you in lots of different ways. And so is that something we want? And the idea is to put in the hands of individuals some sort of blockchain voting mechanism where you can throttle it up or throttle it down in your local area. And so the idea is that this is a job-saving concept where, let's say you have a coal mining town in West Virginia, maybe all those jobs could get replaced with a robot, and you don't need any of the coal miners, and you don't need any administrative staff, or basically the whole mining operation could be done by AI. Does that town want that? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But the idea is to put the town, the individual people, in a position where they can control it. Mm-hmm. And so they could say, hey, maybe in this county or this state, this area, that we're going to have the IQ be at a certain level where it's useful, but not to the point where it will take a human's job. Mm-hmm. And that's really one of the big risks right now, is this job apocalypse that's about to hit. They're talking in 2026, 2027. It's already started this year. Yeah. You're starting to see a lot of creative work and things like that. It's getting transformed. So, that's inevitable that there will be some shifts like that. But because of the risk of AI, it's on us, the people, to throttle it. Because if we allow big tech just to continue pushing, they'll push forever into oblivion, and to the point where these guys have a transhumanist mindset. And I've actually talked to senior leaders in tech who are okay with extinction.
Oh, yeah.
There,
Yeah, there are many conferences And if you look at it, come on, the pandemic, that was already planned and everything. That whole thing was for what? To get rid of, reduce population. Now, what's crazy, and this could be a conspiracy, this could be me just overthinking it, but the vaccine, maybe that could attribute to the whole transhumanism. Maybe that might have something in it that would lead to that, to whatever the plan is. And now we're having the AI, and they need less people because they want to use more robots. So it's just where are we headed? Because everything is, I'm starting to be very suspicious about this whole direction. And I hear all this, you go to Davos, and you listen to all these things, and they're saying, we're going to have, now in Europe, they're going to have the 15-minute city. Mm-hmm. And they want to just control. And And you can do a lot of controlling with AI.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's social credit scoring, and really, you look at China as the model. They've got this thing called WeChat, and WeChat has a whole social credit score applied to it, and ultimately, you can totally steer the population, the human population, with that. And this is so this plan is that's a long-term agenda. So if you look at like UN Agenda 2030, it really should be called AI Agenda 2030, because these guys have been planning this future for a long time. And you'll notice that there's very little discussion about what's actually happening right now in like serious terms. It's more kind of simple stuff like, ChatGPT did XYZ or whatever. But if you kind of fast forward a little bit, we're looking at the fundamental transformation of human existence with the technology. And so it's really on us, the humans that are alive today, to help steer it and push it in the direction that we want. It's sad because like you look at where this mindset is, and I've actually had conversations with guys who are of the transhumanist mindset.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, there will be a pain period that's coming, and the pain period will last a unknown length of time, and that pain period will be a human dystopian time on the planet, and but after that, then there's going to be this utopia. And so they think that during the pain period, there's going to be a loss of life. Life as we know it's going to not be so great. But through that, if we can make it through successfully, a smaller number of humans will live on to enjoy this like world of abundance that's been facilitated by the advanced AI systems, and that's their mindset. And so they're looking at it as like, hey, we just need to get rid of this group now, and that they won't say that out loud. But I've talked to people specifically who look at AI's advancement as the natural progression of humanity. And if technology kills us, or at least a good portion of us, that it's our time, and then we can actually upload our consciousness digitally into a cloud, and then go on living forever in digital form when our human bodies are gone. And that's the mindset, and that's how crazy it is.
This is wild.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, this kind of sounds like they're just taking pieces out of Revelations and they're trying to make their own version of that. But this is like...
Yeah, no, it's full on. It's biblical. What's happening today is biblical. And really it's
But dystopia, not dystopia, utopia. Utopia only lasts like, what, 8 years? It says like we're going to have 8 years of peace in Revelations. But then after that, that's it. So do they really think they're above God?
Yeah, no, they actually believe they're engineering a digital God. And there's a spirituality in Silicon Valley where they believe in creating this artificial human intelligence, AI, that can be a godlike being. And they're even looking at like CRISPR technology and the ability to manipulate particles and at the quantum level. And and the idea is that you can actually invent new forms of life, transforms existing forms of life. And I've actually talked to people in that field who don't see an issue with it and actually get hostile towards people that want to slow them down.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they get mad about it. And you're like, dude, you're actually transforming us as humans.
Right.
And you expect us just to kind of go along quietly here,
That is wild. It's some scary stuff. If people got to that, like they're already brainwashed like that.
And that's the thing. It's like, are we going to trust those type of people with major decisions that impact our safety and our future? And that's the thing about the Trust Council. So the whole idea is that through blockchain voting, it's unofficial, but each person is validated on a blockchain. It's transparent, inspectable, but private, so that you can actually see what people think about things. And that's actually what got me to start it was, being frustrated at, these engineers who have let's say at Meta, they've got a backdoor view to our entire life. Mm-hmm. And how many times your eyes blink and what that indicates about you, or, how long your eyeball looks at different things on a screen can indicate all these things.
Yes.
So it's like they're sitting on a mountain of information about you, but the thing is they're not sharing it with you. Mm-hmm. And that's money. And so, that could be money that could be in your pocket that you could be earning income off of and leveraging somehow.
Yeah.
So
it is. It's mind blowing. Like the type of things, and even like a peasant in this day and age knows the phones. They can track what you like, when you like to shop, all these small little first level layer type of. And imagine the things that we don't even know that they can track.
Yeah.
They have access.
Oh yeah. And they're not being honest about it. And it's like, okay, where's our privacy at? I mean, literally, they listen to you, from the moment of conception all the way till death. And it's like they have a full picture of exactly who you are. And then not only that, but then they have the AI tools to manipulate your social media experience. And so they can tweak it and shift it and ultimately steer your human behavior any way that they want.
That's wild. Manipulative. Oh my gosh, diabolical.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
The minds. And that's that one guy. My goodness, his name is Yuval. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Just listening to him for 5 minutes, it makes me nauseous.
Yeah, he's a great example of somebody who's he pretends like he's being pro-human and pro-safety, but if you just listen to his statements, he's a total transhumanist, and he's all about this inevitability of transitioning into this human 2.0. They actually call it speciation, changing our species like a caterpillar to a butterfly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's like the sheep in what was it? No, the wolf in sheep clothes. Like it's mentioned in the Bible to be very aware and careful with.
Yeah.
Meh. So, Chris, with your mission against corruption in big tech, some people believe there may be clandestine collaborations or even complicity between large tech companies and government entities that undermine public trust. Do you think there is any credibility to these claims? And how does the AITC work to bring transparency to the forefront of these complex relationships?
Yeah, so
long question. Jeez.
But it's kind of in line with what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
With it's just, do we have a mechanism to review data and review the trustworthiness of different individuals? So one of the things that we're modeling the Trust Council off of is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, you get endorsed by your audience or by people that know you for being true or real about what you're saying. And the idea with the Trust Council is that the more people you can get to endorse you for being honest about certain types of information, the more you can. The idea is to let people see the data. And so for us, it's like a utility. But the idea is that the public input on the data is visible. And so the idea is that if you want to share information that's trustworthy and honest and real, then you should get rewarded for it. And so the idea is that if there's a hierarchy of trust in data and also opinions, if you're somebody who's an influencer but you're honest and real, then we're going to listen to you more than somebody who's just fake. And that's one of the issues with social media right now is that most things you see are fake. I mean, you can buy 100,000 Instagram followers. And it's like, that's a total manipulation of our psychology. Yeah. I mean, you're going to look at somebody's page and think like, oh, well, they're really popular, so I'm going to listen to them more. And if they're selling a product, I'll trust it more. And that's a silly way to conduct business, So, so having a more clear view on the data. And one of the things that we do focus on is visualization tools so that people can actually visually see information and they can make their own assessment. So it's not like a factcheck.org. It's not a Snopes or whatever these kind of sites are. This is actually just here's all the available data on this particular thing. People can make their own assessment, and we have unique ways of actually showing that data and information so that people can figure it out.
That is really nice. Are you invested in Ask ROI?
I was just at the conference here in Vegas, and I know Todd Alt and those guys, and and that's a fantastic product.
So
it's very useful, and that's one of the conversations. It's like, where is that happy balance of being useful and helpful in the workplace, but not
ethical?
That's going to transform existence.
Right. Yeah. So it's as long as it's balanced, and it's actually not I guess, affecting humanity. But
Well, and that's the thing. So so if you put it to a vote, let's say like in New York City, maybe you don't want to eliminate all the lawyers. Maybe you don't want to eliminate all the C-level position jobs or something, or even administrative or whatever people want. And so do you want like helpful tools that can make it a shortcut so you can be more profitable, or and like where is that fine line? And so the idea is it's up to the people to figure that out.
how long would that take, I wonder? What do you think?
Yeah, you just put it to a vote, and the idea is that if you have some data that you can reference, be like, okay, like the majority of the population in this area thinks that the sophistication of certain types of technology should be at this level. What you can do is you can take that information and give it to elected officials. Be like, look, like this is what people want, and so there's techniques to throttle the IQ or the perception of IQ on the user experience. You can put in things that actually slow it down and make the responses not perfect, so that you still need a human to have some oversight over the responses. And you could look at ChatGPT 4 as a pretty good example of that now, where it's good, it's very helpful, but it's not to the point where it's scary, and it's going to take everybody's job. It's just kind of like a helpful tool. And so the idea is to keep it at that level of being a helpful tool and not kind of a scary thing.
But that's to assume the elected official is not a corrupt.
Yeah.
And also, that's kind of like, well, to what end? Like, some people are gonna say, well, this is not actually freedom of expression. This is not freedom of choice. Freedom, all these, these different things. They're thinking that if you allow all that stuff, then that's what freedom is, having everything out there wide open.
Yeah.
But if you start controlling it, then are you really?
Well, and that's the narrative that that's kind of the current paradigm is, where it's like, just kind of let it go and see what happens. And so they look at that as like, like it's going to end up with, they call it human uselessness. Or the useless class. It's Yuval Harari talks about that. But it's people that don't have skills that are useful, and they actually have robots that can work 24/7 that are just as capable as a human in certain tasks. And if you can have that, I mean, you could even look at like self-driving cars. There's a big push to put AI into trucking.
Oh, wow.
And trucking is one of these career paths that really helps employ a lot of people, and is a pretty nice career for a lot of people. And these guys are like super interested in replacing the human drivers with AI. And what I'm saying is that like collectively, we need to be thinking about this in terms of Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Because if you have all your logistics controlled by AI and you don't need the human there, what's to stop this from slowing down? And if you have a very convincing leader in the form of a digital agent, like kind of a silver-tongued devil that's able to manipulate populations and, steer humanity in a direction, and then that coupled with, the ability to project power through drone warfare and robots and all that kind of stuff, it's full-on Terminator 2. So it's kind of ridiculous. And the fact that we're not, laser focused on this today, and and I have called out the Trump administration. They're signing these deals with OpenAI and investing billions of dollars.
The Oracle guy. Now there's a vaccine that's what is it called? What does it do? Some type of vaccine now that's AI.
Oh yeah. And the answer isn't necessarily more money, flooding it with. It's not like fiber optic cables or something. Like this is actually the transformation of humans. And so, AI safety, ethics, and the ability to control it, throttles, that's one of the narratives, is that there is no way to control AI. And that's actually not true, because what you can do, in 2009, Israel and the US NSA created a virus called Stuxnet. And that virus was deployed on a bunch of thumb drives internationally. So that that virus spread to I guarantee it's on our computers right now. And it was harmless, except for this one type of chip. And so this one type of chip was a spin controller for the nuclear centrifuges in the Iranian air-gapped, internet-free bunker where it was totally secure. But yet that virus was able to access that chip and then shut down the spin controllers for the centrifuges. And that was in '09. And so we could easily do that today, and we can even harness the power of AI to monitor. And that's one of the things we're looking at is different safety codes that we could use on drones and robot dogs, and the ability to be a kind of tyrannical, evil leader right now is just unprecedented with these tools.
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to put myself in a leader's shoes and understand like China is they're ahead of us already technologically. So what would I do in that point? Like, what would you do? All these other people are so focused on all these technological advancements, but you're trying to hold on to human
normal humanity, and I think it's actually going to be the future could be where we go backwards. Because what I'm hearing is that, like, I talked to a guy from Cisco the other day. He talked about a virus that was deployed onto the dark web, and that's kind of like the raw cabling that goes between our computers. And so that dark web virus was able to outmaneuver the best hacking attempts from the cybersecurity folks at Cisco. And that AI virus was actually morphing and changing. And the way he described it, he said it was like playing chess on expert mode, where you make a move and you think it's really a bright idea, and the AI will just like counter it. And so that model is growing and changing, and so it's an example of a virus that could come where it ultimately hurts our infrastructure in some way or another. So it could be a situation where we, it turns into like a lights out kind of deal, or an internet outage or something along those lines.
Oh gosh, like the movie that Obama actually, yeah.
Very similar. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, and there's a little bit of foreshadowing there. So unless we can control it, it might go that direction. And so one of the things is to have a competitive advantage by maintaining some of our normal, off-grid skills, our keeping our normal college education and not losing those human skills that keep us smart and things like that. There's a tendency when things are very easy just to kind of like, go completely towards, the technology and be like, oh, I'll just push the easy button over and over until my life is just super easy and I don't have to think or do anything. And at that point, like, where does that leave us?
I know. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What is the plan? Like, what is your mission? Just to gather more people to...
Yeah. So right now we're trying to gather as many people as possible. Our initial members fit different categories of high trust. So the foundation of the AI Trust Council is made up of firefighters, EMTs, commercial pilots, military veterans, air traffic controllers, and also humanitarians. And that's really a catch-all. And so basically to be a humanitarian on the site, you just have to have 5 people that endorse you as being somebody who's done something good for other humans.
Okay.
And that makes you humanitarian. And that's in contrast to big tech. Because in big tech, you have people that are not necessarily pro-human. They're actually okay. They're kind of anti-human.
Yeah.
And they're pro-tech to the point of human extinction. That sounds nuts, but if you talk to them, I mean, they'll admit it. So, and so this organization is like that. We're pro-human. We want to see good things happen to the human species, and we don't want this whole dystopian dark times that they're talking about now. We want to save humanity from that mess, and you do that through putting people in leadership positions. And so if individuals are get a reputation for whatever it is, we want their voice to carry, and we want them to gain a following and to help actually influence the direction of this. So
And aren't you afraid that they might, because I see you're trying to build this community of good humans that could also have survival skills and all that. Aren't you afraid they might just come hunt you down, kill you?
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely thought about it, but yeah, I mean, I honestly think we're kind of screwed, and to the point where you've got people that are they'll cry when they talk about this stuff because they see the end, and it's kind of like apocalyptic visions, and it's just like, so basically, if we don't do something, I think we're kind of screwed. So we have to push back, and we have to ignore the profit narratives because everything's all about profit. Like, oh, you're going to save all this stuff, and this is about us as humans and how we can continue living in this nice environment. And if you look at the Earth today, I mean, we've got an amazing environment here, and it's a special place. And the more we go crazy with it. I mean, you got people talking about like, oh, let's go nuts with CRISPR technology and just transform all genetics into something different. Let's spread mRNA to animals in the forest. Let's, genetically modify all plants, that exist. And it's basically like they're playing a video game with our natural realm.
Right.
And I'm like, well, where's the oversight? Why,
Yeah. They haven't figured out a cure for cancer, and they're already trying to do what? Modify. Wait, just calm down, pump your brakes.
Yeah.
There are other things that you have yet to accomplish that you may never accomplish.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah. I know, and there are tools and capabilities today to solve most disease, and that's really kind of the one of the big things about this future we're moving into is that the longevity issue.
Do you think maybe they have the cure, but that because big pharma would never make any money if the cure actually was public?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I think it's this. It's an equation. I think they look at humans as being in our current life cycle as humans, grow up, have kids and, start a family and, and then eventually die, 80, 90 years old or whatever. They're looking at a major disruption to that, to the point where, lifespans might go to, 150, 200,
Wow.
500, maybe.
What for?
Well, and that's the thing. So,
they're like freakily looking crazy.
Well, and there's even capabilities now to reverse age. There's ways to turn your genetics so that you basically become youthful again. And so there's all this capability with that. And so then that gets into the depopulation discussion. And a lot of these folks have a perspective that, we need to depopulate because we're going to have this, overabundant population. And so they're looking at like, oh, well, we're hard on the planet as it is. And if we continue growing, it's going to get worse and worse. But the thing is, they're not factoring in any of the high technology into addressing any of these like environmental problems. All the excuses are like humans are bad to the earth, and if we die, it's okay. And I've heard that over and over. And I'm like, well, you've got free energy technologies coming on. They're talking about like some of the Tesla coil kind of stuff, or even like the hydrogen fuel cells and all this kind of free stuff. And I'm like, you mean to tell me we can't harness that plus the gift of quantum and AI and apply it to environmental and not come up with some brilliant solutions to, make the rivers clean, the oceans clean, fix the whole issue with, glyphosate in all of our food and stuff like that.
Right.
There are a million advancements that we could use, that we could increase the population. Northern Canada, there's nobody up there.
Right.
Mongolia, there's nobody there. Like 2 valleys over here in Vegas, it's absolutely like nothing. There's no people. Yeah,
but the more people you have, the less control. So obviously, totalitarian.
They don't like it.
Yeah. Why would they? Huh?
Yeah.
So which is crazy. Like they don't know the cause effects. Like if you're trying to become a transhuman, whatever, you don't know what that's gonna do because they have never. So what do you like? They're trying to do all these things to the human body, but you don't know exactly how that's even gonna turn out.
And we were talking about UFO stuff the other day here. But there's even a perspective that the gray aliens are actually our future selves. And so if you look at like Mark Zuckerberg and some of these other guys, they're building these bunkers underground to protect themselves from this future. And so basically, what if left unchecked, and if we get into a World War III situation, the size of the drones will get very small and very capable and very high IQ. And so it turns the surface of the Earth into a situation where you can't really be outside because of you can get zapped. But so it forces you underground. And if they go down underground with all this like really high technology, they're going to be doing genetic modifications and manipulating genetics to the point where you get this kind of androgynous, kind of not male, not female, big eyes, using telepathy and all this kind of stuff. And, and you just become a different form of human. And, and ultimately that, would resemble more of like an alien.
So is that what they're saying, that aliens are humans in a different dimension?
Well, maybe our future or something, but it's like, but even still, it's like, if you're going to take that, then they're going to say, okay, well then if, for example, there was that school in Zimbabwe where they said that the alien ship came down and then the little guy got off the ship and was like telepathically communicating with the school kids. And it's like this big case, I think it was like 200 kids or something like that saw it, and a bunch of faculty. But the message that they were giving to the kids was that do not allow technology to get too advanced. And humans are getting too technological. And if you do that, it's going to cause the collapse of your society. And that was a warning.
And I bet you the transhumans are probably thinking, oh, this is a conspiracy because they're trying to have their own narrative.
Yeah.
So that's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It is.
But you could see the tech, and you're like, yeah, technology is getting pretty wild. And so, yeah, we need some mechanism to throttle it, some mechanism to control it. And the best place to do it is with the people.
Yeah, and you mentioned actually that it's called lethal autonomous weapon system. That is what I was talking about Israel. Yeah. That's like that small palm-sized autonomous drone using facial recognition and shaped explosive that can be programmed to seek out and eliminate known individuals.
Yeah.
So they actually have a picture of someone.
You can zap them
quickly, and they
and you just set these things up everywhere so that, like, as soon as they walk outside, it's connected to the power line, or it's like sitting on a rooftop or something like that, and so they're just kind of sprinkled everywhere. And then as soon as the intelligence identifies so that person's the one, then it's just and so it's full control.
Yeah,
and it's like how and as a citizen, how do you deal with that? Other than hide underground.
Dang.
So, and is that the world we want to live in?
Can you imagine the fear?
Yeah. And the whole concept is that we should be, coming together as a planet today. This is really the golden age of humanity. And, we're kind of like kids, and we've just been gifted this, insane toy that we hurt ourselves really bad if we don't, respect it and treat it in a safe way. And so it's really the responsibility is on us. The problem is that, we're kind of getting shifted towards this kind of war narrative, and, there's all these kind of divisions that are being, exposed and stuff like that right now. But if we use this technology for good, it's the golden age of humanity, and we can have a really amazing time.
I don't know. I feel like humans, a lot of them, so you have the ones that are diabolically, they're just trying to use the technology for their own good, obviously. But then you have the dumbasses that think, oh, this is fascinating, let me try that. So I don't know, maybe I lost a little bit of faith in humanity.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like we tend to listen to kind of really smart folks. And if somebody's like really well-spoken.
Smart.
Yeah. And then, you're just kind of like, oh, okay, I guess they got a plan. And what we really should be doing is analyzing them for being pro-human. Or do they have the best interests of humanity at heart? And there's ways to determine that. There's even questions you can ask to draw that out. I do it on interviews, and so it's So
how do you think these people got to the point where they're just gone? They think that humanity should go just this weird route.
Yeah, it's I call it a mind virus. I don't understand it completely, but there definitely is a difference. And there's some folks that are totally okay with certain dystopian things coming, and they just welcome it. They would love to have like no driver. They would love to have all autonomous cars, and they don't really think like having your own vehicle and your own ability to drive is good. These are folks that really like control, and maybe it's a personality thing or something, but it's just they're in that digital realm, and it's all zeros and ones, and it's all logic, and
they bought into that whole so sad because they're so easily corrupt. And I mean, look at what was it, 70% of the people that were vaccinated, like you really didn't even do any research, you just went there like the sheep. So that's kind of like what's happening now with this whole AI thing. Like you can't
that's AI, mRNA, people don't realize, but 7G is mind reading, mind device interface. So the ability to, I think there's a CEO of Nokia actually talked about by 2027 devices will start going away, and then you'll have a direct interface with your Wi-Fi with your head.
What the heck? It's like, wait, I was at the Whole Foods and they're like, oh, you can pay with your hand. What?
Yeah.
Lady, I'm not even going in a self-checkout. I stay an hour. I will definitely wait 1 hour in line just to not, like I'm that big on keeping humans and keeping them, giving, humans jobs.
Yeah.
I will not go through the self-checkout because it's a matter of principles for me. Yeah. That's how you get rid of humans. Yeah. Have the stupid checkout stuff. So she's like, pay with the palm. I'm like, my thing I'm plumb dumb.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then you attach that to behavior analysis, and then if things get weird, like in the future with let's say another COVID or something like that, then it's this whole surveillance state, and and then the ability to manipulate society is just that much easier. So you can't buy or sell without the mark. It's like
the mark.
Even you talk Revelation with the drones. They talk about the locust. From a distance, it's like black clouds, and then and then these things are stinging people. So basically they want to die, but they can't. And just the surface of the earth is terrible. And,
We're headed.
So it's like, what's the deal,
But since it's all written, why are we fighting it?
Well, I think it's, well, I think that you can.
Try to prolong humanity.
You could say, all right, well, let's just hold it off for a while, and, all it takes is some leadership and just be like, look, like we're just not doing this. And I think most people, like if they know the full story, they're like, okay, that makes sense. We don't want to go into this dark time. We don't want to go through a dystopian period. We want to have good times.
Yeah, it's true. I'm selfish like that. I'm with you. I'm like, I don't need to be the one that has to go through that.
No.
Suckers can do that later on.
Yeah, let's just have a good time. Yeah, let's just enjoy.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, because you really can, and it's. I've actually talked to. We were trying to plan out this future of AI and what the future will look like, and one of the concepts is that it could be more like the villages down in Florida, where it's retirement communities with just games, golf, bars, restaurants, and lots of golf carts, and everybody's just having a good time, and it's almost like retirement mode. So that could be in the cards for us. Oh. And so you don't want to lose our natural capabilities and knowledge and things like that, but I think that there's a good balance where you could have a lot of fun, enjoy the technology, but don't let it get to the point where it becomes dystopian.
Right, it takes over.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, and how can they sign up?
Yeah, so
the community.
If you go to theaitc.com, and it stands for the AI Trust Council, that website, they can sign up, become a member. We don't spam anybody or do anything. It's a placeholder for the future site. So as soon as they sign up, they're automatically going to be some of the founding members of the AI Trust Council. And so it's a special position to be in. And what that allows you to do is pick 5 other people that you trust in your life and build a social trust network. And we're tying in cryptocurrency and metadata wallets and a bunch of things for people to earn money off of it and things like that. So,
okay,
so
I'm down.
And I'm on pretty active on LinkedIn. Chris Wright. If you type in Christopher Wright, the AITC, I'll pop up, and I'm always kind of talking crap to big tech people on there. And
that's cool. That sounds entertaining.
Yeah. So
I'll look it up. I'll follow you. That's awesome. Well, Chris, if there was any question that you wish I had asked, but that I haven't, what would it be?
I think you covered the major points. Yeah, I think you did a great job. So
no, you did an amazing job. I'm just here. Wow.
Yeah,
That's so much cool stuff. And I am gonna check out the website and follow. And you guys and your socials. Have you mentioned those?
Mainly on LinkedIn.
Okay.
A little bit on Instagram, but yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I've actually kind of grew up really not participating in social media much, but
so you're really devoted to your mission. Trying to stay. Yeah, that's good.
It's the future.
Well, thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you
for
absolutely. I appreciate
coming and wish you all the best.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.